share it with other team members. Oh, thank you, Melanie. And so I'm going to get us started. We have a lot to go through, but I'm also going to pause as we do this so that we can get your questions as we go. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to share my screen. And I will ask you to tell me if you are seeing a PowerPoint.
Yes.
Okay, that is all good. I'm going to put it, even though this means then I don't get to see you, I'm going to put it in play mode. All right. I think all of you know about TheDream.Us. We are now the nation's largest college and success program for undocumented students. I always say to people, that's not boasting. It's just there aren't that many people who are supporting these students. On a more positive note, what I will say is since we started this work 9 years ago, many other scholarship programs have opened up to undocumented students. So we are making progress there. We've given out over 8,750 awards. Our goal is to give 11,000. We have 3,000 graduates right now. Our goal is to have 8,250. Working with all of you, and you should all know this as new partner colleges, key and most important objective for us is an affordable college education. And let me just thank you now because you are all in one way or another helping close the gap between our award and the cost of tuition and fees on your campus. Then almost as important then is identifying, addressing the barriers and challenges facing our students. And what we do is with this network of colleges, as you are identifying challenges and barriers and effective practices to address them, we share them with this now network of partner colleges that's 80 plus colleges. And beyond that, we partner very closely with the President's Alliance on Higher Education and Immigration. And they have over 550 presidents and chancellors who are members, and we share these effective practices with their membership group as well. For any of you who have a president who is not already a member of that alliance, I sent a personal email to the president asking your president to consider joining. It's such an important alliance and a great way for a president or chancellor to use his or her voice. Our scholars are rocking it. We have a goal of a 75% graduation rate and 150% time. Our four-year students are exceeding that. You see that we have a 92% persistence rate, 82% overall persistence rate. That exceeds that of all four-year students in the United States, not just what we think about as the peer of our students, and the peers are the Pell Grant holders. And then they have a 3.3 average GPA. And just a note here, oftentimes I think people assume that that 3.3 average GPA is because our students are taking what might be easier degrees. 25% of our students are enrolled in STEM. Another 25% are in business. It's about another 20% are in the social sciences. So these are students that are really going for it in terms of their academic careers. Okay, so now let's get into the scholarship program. I think you all know this, but let's just pause for a moment. The round is open. The round closes February 28. It is a long time for a scholarship round to be open. The good news is it's bad news is we all have to promote for 4 months. The good news is with undocumented students, particularly high school students who are just discovering often in their senior year that they are undocumented, it's not until a little bit later in their senior high school year that they realize the need to start to look for these kinds of scholarships. So every year we wrestle, should we close it earlier? And every year we say, no, we need to keep it open as long as we can. And then we process it and try to get all the awards done before that May 1st deadline. The scholarship is now $39,000. That is $33,000 of it is for tuition and fees. Another $6,000, $1,500 per year, is for books and supplies. And that's for those that are working on their bachelor's degrees. Okay, let me talk about eligibility, and then I'm going to pause for a moment to see what questions might be emerging. So first of all, let's look at the immigration eligibility. And you are new to us, so this won't is not new to you, but I want to make sure that you understand it because you may run into people who know us from our previous eligibility criteria. Students are now able to apply for our scholarship if they are fully undocumented or have DACA or TPS. They came to the country before they turned 16, and they came to the US before November 1, 2017, which is 5 years before our round opened. We no longer make a reference to being DACA eligible because high school students can no longer get DACA, and it's just going to be confusing for them. We did keep these second two criteria for two reasons. One, from a mission standpoint, it has always been our intent to serve students who have grown up in the United States. This country is their home. Second, our immigration lawyers told us that if we want to avoid any possible claim that we are somehow running afoul of the federal immigration law by somehow enticing students with our scholarship, enticing them to come into the country, they said, look, if you're really focused on students who came before their 16th birthday and they've had to be here for 5 years, no one could make that case. So there's both a legal protection for it, but also really is the group of students we're trying to serve. So that's immigration eligibility, really simple, clean cut. Then let's look at the other criteria. And we have really worked this year, once again, to simplify these from what it was in the past. First, significant unmet financial need. I am just going to tell you that the average family income of our scholars is like $24,000. So almost every applicant meets this. We get thousands of applicants every year. Every year there are maybe 3 to 5 whose family income is so high that we think it actually doesn't meet this significant unmet need. So I tell students, don't worry about it. Most of our students are going to meet this criteria. They have to have graduated from high school with a GPA of 2.5 or have a GED, or, and this is the new criteria, which really expands the students we're serving. They can be enrolled in college now or have been enrolled in college and often had to stop out for financial reasons. So long as they had a 2.5, they are eligible to apply for our scholarship. So we're serving both high school students as well as current college students. So for those of you who have strong transfer pipelines, whether that's from local community colleges or sometimes even other four-year universities, those students are now eligible to apply for our scholarship. They are also eligible to apply for our scholarship if they're currently attending your college and are undocumented, meet our other criteria, and of course didn't know about or weren't able to apply for our scholarship previously because of our criteria. Now, just a cautionary note on this. If you have undocumented students that you've already put together a financial package for that allows them to cover tuition and fees, those students don't need to apply. We're really looking for those students who you're concerned they're going to have to stop out because they don't have sufficient funds, and we want them to be able now to apply for our scholarship. So you can see it's a much broader universe that we're now seeking to serve. That third criteria applies only for public institutions. And if our students are going to attend a public institution, they must be eligible for in-state tuition. If it's a private institution, then that doesn't come into play. For our states that have state aid available to our scholars, we tell them that we expect them to be applying for state aid. And in most of the states, we will apply that first and then apply our awards second. So now let me just pause on this. Questions that you all have about eligibility criteria. And Melanie, you can tell me if anything's coming in on the chat.
Hey, Candy. So we did have a question earlier that Sadhana answered, asking, is there any flexibility on the arrival date? 2018 arrival should be 5 years next year, where then Sadhana confirmed that we moved the arrival date to 5 years prior each round. So then next year, it will be November 1, 2018.
Yes, thank you.
We
And
also have
I did,
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Melanie.
Oh, no, I was just gonna go on to the next question.
Good. Go ahead and do that, and then I'll introduce Sadana. Didn't know we had her.
Great. So we have another question asking, is the GPA on an unweighted scale?
Oh, that's such a good question. We collect both unweighted and weighted. And so long as they have a 2.5 on one or the other, they are admissible.
Thank you, Candy. And then
Yeah.
the last question that I see here in the chat asks, for private universities, does the student have to be living in that state? For example, we have students who might fit the criteria in Minnesota territories, but we are in Wisconsin.
Yes, they do need to be living in the state. Now, the only exception for that is we do have online an online partner college, excuse me, Purdue Global University, and we allow students in any state to apply for that online program. But yes, so using Illinois as an example, we're trying to serve as many Illinois students as we can. And some of our Illinois colleges, because of cost, can only take a limited number. And so I don't want to be giving those spots in Illinois to students from other states without first being sure that we're serving all of the Illinois students who are applying for our award. And let me then just pause for a moment because it sounds like Sadana Singh has joined our program. Sadana Singh is our Senior Communications Manager. She is very much taking the leadership role in the promotion of our scholarship. She manages all of our social media. I encourage you all to follow us on social media, and I know that Sadana follows all of you. So she's often lifting what you are doing on your campuses in support of undocumented students. So Sadana, thank you for joining us. Okay, any other questions? You can come off mute if you like it. If you have any other questions on the eligibility criteria. All right, I'm going to jump forward. And I forgot to mention this at the beginning, so let me mention it now. The slides that I am going through with you are written to speak to a scholar. So our goal is when you get to the end of the slides that are for the scholars, we'll send you this deck and you can use it for your presentations, whether it's at college fairs, whether you have students coming on campus, you'll have a deck that you can use. The last few slides that we'll go through in this session are just for our partner colleges. Okay, let's look at the application. We have worked so hard to make this a simple application. There are no essays for this year's round. We did that because in order to use our award, our scholars have to be admitted to the partner college of their choice. And we believe that you actually are much better positioned to assess whether a student is college ready and ready for your institution than we can assess it. And I know most of you have essays in your college applications. So through our application on our website, we say to our students, you must be applying to your partner college of choice. And if they think they've got a few of them, to all of them, at the same time they're applying for our award. That enables us then to keep our application very simple. We get applicant information. We do not collect any home addresses for our scholars because we do not want them in our system. We collect what we need for immigration eligibility. Then we get their academic information, again, fairly simple. It is going to be high school or college GPA, their rank in their high school class. SAT and ACT scores are optional, but they can report those. Then we get financial information. We do not require any financial documentation. It is a very simple page with 4 questions. What is your, first they ask, are you dependent or independent? And then it is, what is your household income? How many are supported by it? And how many who are supported by it will be going to college? It can be filled out if the students get this information in advance, and we always encourage applicants to ask their parents for this information if they're dependents. Often their parents are filing income tax returns, so it's easy to take right off the tax return. No documents have to be uploaded. Then we do get their responsibilities, volunteer, extracurricular, community service activities, awards that they've won, and then importantly here, home responsibilities. And I want to pause to emphasize this one. So many undocumented students have home responsibilities that they're not able to engage in volunteer and community service activities. And we want them to get credit for those responsibilities. It's just showing their ability to take on responsibility and still be successful in high school or college. So we ask them to score, that they write down the number of hours that they do in these particular activities, and then you get a bump in your score. One of the things we've discovered is undocumented students look at this and they're almost embarrassed to take credit for it. And in their minds, it's like, well, doesn't every student do this? How can I possibly be getting credit for it? And they don't appreciate, no, not every student is taking on these responsibilities. So if you're helping students complete the application, tell them, give yourself credit in this section. It's important and it does impact their scores. Right, so now let's look at next slide. What has to be uploaded? Simple, transcripts only. High school transcript, if the student's been going to college, college transcript. It can be an unofficial transcript, has to show the grades and cumulative GPA. But other than that, that's all they have to upload in our application. Very simple. All right, there's a guide for you, also a guide for students found on our website, also a very informative FAQ. And I put links to both of those here at the bottom of this slide, but you can also easily find them on the application site itself. And very simply, this application guide helps the students determine eligibility, tells them how to complete the application, tells them how to submit and monitor their application status. I have this in red because there is a highlight for you. There's a little bit of a flaw in the application that we use. Our partner is ISTS. They're a scholarship provider services, and they do our application, they do our renewals, they manage our awards. The flaw is that a student can actually submit their application without having yet uploaded their documentation. And in students' minds, they go, "Up, I've applied." They need to continue to monitor. And if they haven't uploaded their transcript, they go into their portal, it will tell them, "We're missing your transcript." If they've uploaded their transcript and it was unreadable, for some reason it didn't have all of what was needed, it will tell you transcript needs to be submitted again. So they'll get all the information they need. Once their application has been reviewed for completeness, it will tell them your application is complete. So encourage your students to really use this portal. Then award notification, we'll talk about that. How they go about accepting the award, which is a very simple template, important that they do so by the deadline. And they do take a pledge. And part of this pledge is about how they themselves are the commitments they're going to be making, but also paying it forward. But there are two pledges I want to draw out to your attention because they very much relate to you. The first is they commit that they will meet with their scholar advisor for TheDream.Us once every term. Second, they commit that they will have at least one career development opportunity each year. And we don't today track this, but we're going to start being much more diligent about emphasizing this for our students. And one of the things that we may ask them to do in the future is actually include it in our renewal form. And they have to say, did you meet with your scholar advisor? And both terms, have you completed a college career opportunity? Now, one comment here I do want to make on the award notification. I just added this slide because it's just been such a tripping point for our students in the past. They often apply using, if they're in high school, their high school email address, sometimes a college email address, and they may be addresses that they're then not later able to access. So we say, please use a personal email address that you are going to check. And please make sure that you add this email address, TheDream.Us at apply.ists.com, as a safe sender or in your contact list, and the same for the @TheDream.Us domain. We have had students who have received our award and it went to their spam box or junk box and they didn't know it. And because they didn't know it, they didn't accept the award. And because the email address isn't working for us, we're not able to actually email them to say, hey, we noticed you didn't accept the award, because they're not getting the acceptance email. So if you can help applicants in doing this when you're helping them complete the application, it would be a great service to them. Okay, one more slide, and then I'm going to pause for questions again. The round obviously is open. As I said, it closes February 28. We then go through quite a process to confirm eligibility on all fronts, and sometimes also working with our partner colleges to ensure the students actually have applied and been admitted. We especially do that with colleges that take a limited number of applicants, and that's because we want to make sure that we don't give the award to somebody who's not going to be admitted. And then it's by late April. We always get this done before May 1. We get it done as soon as we can. We notify the recipients whether they have received or not received the scholarship. So now let me pause again. And Melanie, perhaps you can tell us if we're getting questions in the chat.
Hey, Candy, I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay, how about anybody just want to unmute themselves and ask questions?
Yeah, I had one quick question. When you had the requirements for community service and things like that, if they haven't done any community service, you know, due to like COVID and things that we've been going through lately, does that count against them?
Well, it will reflect in their score. But then, of course, what we all have to remember is all the students were going through COVID. So in that sense, they have all the same experience. But yes, if it's prevented them from doing those opportunity, volunteer and community service. But then again, many of our students in COVID took on increasing home responsibilities. We also, by the way, I'm not sure I said this in the slide, but we collect information on their work, whether they are working. We do not ask whether or not they're being paid for their work. We simply ask whether they actually have jobs that they're working. And oftentimes our high school students do, and certainly our college students do. And again, they will get credit for that.
Yeah, I just asked it because there was a lot of people had different views with vaccinations and things like that.
Oh,
So,
yes, you are so right.
so I just wanted to make sure that if their belief or whatever the case wouldn't be held against them or anything.
Yeah, it's a good question and a good point, Chris. Thank you.
I have a question, Candy.
Others?
Hi,
Yeah.
this is
Hi,
Kathleen.
yeah.
How are you?
How are you?
Good. Good question. In regards to like if we were to do, besides them obviously getting the financial piece, what would be, do you have a list of perks they would get if they're part of this group?
Yes, and I'm going to move to a slide there in just a moment, if that's all right, Patty, and then I'll walk you through.
Yes, thank you.
The line we use is we are more than a scholarship program. And of course, part of that is because all of the supports that you as a partner college are providing, but there are things that we're doing as well. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Other questions?
Hi, it's Heather with North Central College.
Hi, Heather. Nice to see you.
Thanks. So for applicants, they can only put down one partner college. What if they're looking between like North Central and Dominican?
Okay. I'm so glad you asked
there?
this question. So one, in Illinois, because we have so many partner colleges and because some of our colleges can only take a limited number of students, we let them choose a first and second choice. And even beyond that, and in 4 other states where we have a number of colleges there, what we do is there are times when we will say, you have received our award, but you won't be able to use it at your first choice college because they've taken the number that they can take. But you can use it at these other colleges in your area. So obviously, Chicago's a place that we do that. In New York City, we have all 18 CUNY institutions, our partner colleges. If a student receives our award in New York, they can use it at any institution in CUNY. And actually the same is true. We've added a couple new New York colleges and they could use it there. So there's definitely flexibility for students. The only difficulty is if it's a college that can only take a limited number of students, then in order to choose that college, they have to have our permission and we have to go get the college's permission.
Really
The-
helpful. Thank you. Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Okay, do we find out, of course, we'll be, sharing the information with our students and encouraging them to apply. But is there a way that we'll find out if they indeed did complete the scholarship application, or will we not find out until they've been awarded?
Oh, I can't wait I'm going to answer your question in just a moment, Heather.
Oh, okay.
Can't wait to show you what you get. I think it's the best support tool we have. Okay,
Great, thank you.
I'm going to come back for just a minute to Caddy's question about what else comes with the scholarship.
Can I ask one quick one before you go there?
Oh, yes. Yeah, please.
Okay, like if they go to the community college, they get the award, and then when they transfer to the university, does that award continue to work transfer with them, or do they have to
It
start
does
over?
if the transfer is approved.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So there are times when, I'll use Dominican as the example, and they're actually fabulous. They take about 35 students every year, but they give me a number. I can only take 35 this year, and I could award more to go to Dominican. So if a student wants to go to Dominican and they weren't in that 35 students, they could not transfer and use their award at Dominican unless I get Dominican's approval. And that's, again, just because Dominican's closing the gap and they can only fund so many students. Good, really good questions you're asking about this. All right, we talk about more than a scholarship and the fact that really we are a family, and that is how we think about both our relationship with our scholars, but honestly, our relationship with our partner colleges. As I said, we have got 8,750 in our community. We have an online private Facebook community where our scholars are providing each other peer-to-peer support. It is one of the most beautiful things I think I've seen in our program. I love to give this example. When Trump was in office and it appeared that DACA was ending, a mother in Arizona posted on the Facebook site to say, hey, you other mothers out there, have you thought about what you're going to do if you get deported and what you're going to do with your children? And mothers jumped on it to say just all kinds of supportive answers. One mother said, I would never leave this country without taking my children with me. Another mother said, I've already found guardians for my children. Should I be deported? Another mother responded and said, my husband and I have started to develop a plan for trying to if we're going to be deported, get to another country and take our children with us. That's the kind of peer support that is going on in that community. Then, of course, on campus, we have our scholar and financial aid advisors. The scholar advisor on your campus is a linchpin role for us. And our scholars tell us in our survey, it is one of the most important roles in helping them persist in college. It is a trusted advisor who knows their status and helps them navigate the college experience. And the thing that trips our students up most often is not on the academic front. It is life circumstances as an undocumented person. It is a parent who is detained or deported. It's a parent who loses their job. The student loses their job. The student is the person who has the driver's license and they're in a car accident. It's a lack of food to feed the family. It's these things, and this is where our scholar advisor, they can go to the scholar advisor and say, I need help. We ask that you have a mental health liaison on campus. They don't have to work directly with our scholars. It's just so that we have a name and an email. So if we think we have a scholar who's on the edge, or the scholar believes they're on the edge, they immediately can go to this person and they'll help them navigate the system to get to help. And then, increasingly more important, we now have a career services liaison on campus, and we are working diligently with our partner colleges to create inclusive paid opportunities for internships and fellowships. And thankfully, we received a very generous grant to do this. And you can create these inclusive opportunities. And when I say the word inclusive, they are available to students regardless of whether or not they have work authorization. This is important because increasingly our scholars will not have work authorization. The class of 1,100 or so that are starting this year, 80% of them do not have DACA, TPS, or work authorization. Next year, I expect this class that's going to be coming to you, 99% of them is my guess, will not have work authorization unless something changes in the law. And I hold that 1% because certainly with transfer students, those are a little bit older, they may have had the opportunity to get DACA. So this means from a career perspective, one, we have to make it possible for our scholars to get the kinds of learning opportunities they need, but they need to be paid learning opportunities because it's difficult for them to get these off the side jobs to help support them while they're in college. And then just as important, we're starting to work with our scholars and our partner colleges on how do we think about the entrepreneurial pathways that will be available to our students as freelancers, as business owners, as startup companies, and how do we prepare them for those experiences starting in their freshman year all the way through their graduation. And we're going to be working with all of our partner colleges on this. And then, of course, finally, we use our voice on a continual basis. Sadhana Singh, who's with us, is a part of that for state and federal advocacy. I'm just so thrilled to be able to share with you that the state of Arizona the voters have just passed a proposition that will now give undocumented students in Arizona in-state tuition. And we used our scholar stories. We had our scholars speak out. We used our data on our scholars and how they're doing in Arizona to help advocate and educate donors about why this was important. So that gets, Katie, to your question. It gives you a sense of the kinds of things that we're doing. This last slide is one that we use also with scholars because as students realize that they will not have the traditional career pathways open to them, some are pausing and saying, why would I bother to go to college? Really important that you help us deliver the message. It opens careers that can help them support their families. If a DREAM Act were ever to pass, it requires college education. Career pathways are available to them without work authorization, and we're going to help them understand what they are and be ready to take those career pathways. And then we always say to our scholars, look, if the very worst thing happens to you and you have to leave this country, you will be leaving with a college education. So important messages. Okay, so this is all our new PCs. These are the slides that are only for you. And I want to make sure I'm not going to run out of time. Let me check my clock here. Okay, we're great, doing great. I want to get to the question that came up earlier. For you, we ask every partner college to have at least 10 new scholars each year. That's important because you're putting a lot of infrastructure in place. We are putting a lot of infrastructure in place, and it really doesn't make sense if you're not bringing in at least 10 new students. It also is true that having that cohort of students is really important in our scholars' success. They want to be in a community of other undocumented students. So what does it take for you to get there? 70 started applications, 25 completed and submitted applications will get you yield 10 enrolled scholars. And of course, there's attrition, as you well know, along each step of the way. Now, here is the tool that gets to the question that you asked earlier, Heather, about how am I going to know? So we make available to you a applicant report that you can get in your ISTS Partner College portal. And we will be sending out by the end of this week the username, the password, and the report key that you need to access this applicant report. And you can run it anytime. You can run it, you can download it, export it into an Excel spreadsheet. It will tell you what the applicants who have selected you as their first choice partner college. You will have an email address if they've put that into their application. Most of them, by the time you're seeing it, they have. And you'll be able to start your outreach to these students. You'll also be able to see the status of their application. You'll be able to see if it's started. You'll see if it's submitted. You can see if it's completed. And that's going to let you can be sending emails to the students. You can invite them to your campuses. For the students who have started but not completed, you can do webinars to say, we're going to have a webinar to help you complete your application. And you have them pull their application up and you help them do it real time, which is now much easier given they don't have to write the essays. You literally can sit down and do it with them. So I'm just like, this is the best tool you can possibly have. Now, what happens is if they get our award, when they accept the award, you will also see that in the applicant report. But the minute they accepted it, they will then now start showing up on another report that you will get, which will be your scholar report. So you'll then be able to track all the students who have accepted your award. And then once we get enrollment information, your scholar report, and this is enrollment information you give us, will show you what their status is in terms of their enrollment. So to come this week, you'll get these 3 pieces of information. And if you have any difficulties running it, reach out to your RM. A key note for you here: do not have any spaces before or after any of these 3 pieces of data, because if you do, it won't work. So check and make sure you don't have spaces. All right. For those of you who attended our promotion kickoff now a good couple of weeks ago, Sadhana, of course, helped lead that. Here are all of the links that you would need to access any of those promotional materials. You can also get them in the PC Hub that's on our website. Go to the website, very up left-hand corner. It says Partner College Hub. You click there, you can get the promotional toolkit. You can get our scholarship toolkit. So lots of information and data available to you. I do want to mention this. It's a lot we're sharing with you today. And once you actually have or are soon to have scholars, we want to go do a much deeper dive on the program itself and how it works. What happens if a student needs a break in enrollment? What happens if their GPA drops? What happens if they are struggling? We have a scholarship program guide that they will receive. You can access this and read it at any time now, and it will just answer a lot of that information. You don't really need to know it right now in terms of promotion, but if you really feel like you want to have a full understanding, just go read the program guide. All right. Once again, I'm going to pause now to see what questions have come out of all the slides we've just covered.
Well, earlier during your presentation, Kathy asked if this is not available for graduate students. And I said, yes, correct. The TheDream.Us is only available, it's not available to graduate students. But I did then share the list that we usually share from Immigrants Rising of graduate scholarships available to undocumented students.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kati, for asking that question. And thanks, Melanie, for answering it. By the way, back in this, what services do we offer? We do some work with our students as they are getting ready for graduation. One, some supports just to how do they, if and they want to go to a graduate school, how do they think about it? We have partnered with external organization Fund U to create a loan program for our students who are graduating and want to go to graduate school. And for those students who get a loan, they're also able to apply right now for a graduate scholarship that helps close some of the gap. So those are the kinds of services we continue to offer. Other questions, Melanie?
Those are all the questions that I see in the chat.
Okay, others, questions you want to ask? It's a lot, I appreciate, of information that we're sharing with you. And then here is the importance of your relationship manager. I'll send an email back out to all of you with the recording, with, of course, the information that you need to get into your applicant report. But we'll also make sure you know who your relationship manager is on the TheDream.Us team. Each of us takes a portfolio of partner colleges that we work with, and we serve as your relationship manager so that if there are systemic issues that arise, we're there to work with you to help resolve them. If you just have questions about, particularly as a new PC, about how the program works, you can reach out to your relationship manager. We will meet with you at least once a year. We share with you the academic progress of students, persistence rates, graduation rates, GPA overall, and you get to look at that in comparison to the national average for all of our partner colleges, so you can see where you're comparing. We do a scholar survey every year, and we ask our students to rate their experience on campus with their scholar advisor, with their academic advisors, with students. Are they interacting with other undocumented students? We share that data with you, so you can see if the interactions with your scholar advisor are getting a lower rating than that of the national average, and we can explore what might be going on there. So there are lots of supports that we try to bring to you, because this is our model. We're only able to serve 8,250 students because of our partner college model, because of you. And so our job is, while we do provide supports for our scholars, our primary role is to provide supports for you. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want you to do it, and it's what we're here for. Any other questions? If not, I can close this out.
I have a quick question. Maybe I missed it, but how do students hear about you? Are you in the high schools, or how do they know about you to apply?
Oh, such a great question. And Saad, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Well, why don't you answer this question? This is where you shine.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So as Candy mentioned, I manage the communications for TheDream.Us, and this period right now that we're open is where I am front and center. So I usually, we have a list of some organizations that are, working with college students or working with high school students, college access orgs. These places, we try to email them all of our information. Sometimes we get requests to do presentations for them as well. This also includes high school districts. So we'll do a lot of presentations for high school districts, talk to school counselors, all of that. It's a twofold of us putting the information out there and sort of emailing the criteria, all the stuff Candy went over, out in mass, and then just getting those requests back in. People also reach out to us on social media. So sometimes we get interview requests to do podcasts, requests to do Instagram lives, and we often take all of those opportunities to go and talk about the scholarship to reach wider audiences in all these platforms.
Such
Do
a
you
good
have
answer.
that relationship with the Chicago Public Schools?
We do. We have a strong relationship with the Chicago Public Schools as well as the Chicago City Colleges. And so we do presentations for them. Melanie is on the ground there, so she's often front and center. We have, I would love to say that we have full bandwidth to do anything you would ask. Each of us commits to doing at least a couple sessions. Certainly virtual sessions are much easier for us, but where we have people on the ground, if it's a big session that would allow us to reach lots of students, just let us know about it. And if we're not able to attend, what we've also been doing, and honestly, sometimes it's more effective than if we attend, we reach out to current scholars or graduates and have them represent us. I have a young man in Arizona. He is a fabulous speaker and students love him. He's a current student. And he's done now two events for us in Phoenix, Arizona. So if there's a time when you think you need us or one of our scholars to come and help, especially since you don't have any scholars yet, we're there. We'll help you figure it out. We will also be sending out to all of our partner colleges, not just the new PCs. Every year we do an analysis of, we look and see, using pivot table, find out where our previous applicants are coming from, what high schools in the state, and we'll give you a list so that you can see the high schools that have the highest number of students who have been applying for our application. And that'll give you a sense of where the students are coming from. Hey, any other questions? Great questions today, Chris. Thanks so much.
Candy, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but if everyone knows about the PC Weekly, and it's how we communicate to our PCs, and so it's a weekly newsletter that Sadhana sends out.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
so
perfect.
right.
Thank you,
I
Candy.
feel like there was a slide here I missed. The stay connected. Thank you, Melanie.
Perfect. Thank you.
There it is. So all of you are now on our master contact list. If you're not getting this PC Weekly, which Sedona helps create, every week it tells you what's required, what must know, in case you missed it. There are other things. We'll show you which emails have gone out. You'll give links to emails that have gone out to our scholars. If you're not getting this on Wednesday, one, check your spam folder, make sure that you've added us as a safe sender. But two, if you're not getting it, then let us know, because maybe we didn't get you on the list, or somehow your email address isn't correct. Oh, thank you, Melanie, so much, because I wouldn't have gotten to that slide.
I have a question about the newsletter per se that comes from Sedana. Is that how you
Yes.
say your name?
Yes,
sorry.
Sedana.
Sedana. Okay. Is that because there's other people, you know, who we put on our list that are going to be a part of this? Is there any way to add everybody or not?
Yes,
Yes.
good question. So
Yeah.
we have our roles that Candy will go over or has gone over, and we send to all of those roles, those defined roles, so scholar advisor, that kind of stuff. But we also have, if someone's not in a defined role, we just add them as PC Weekly to sort of trigger them getting this newsletter. So yes, it can be, I can go out to as many people as you want, but just let us know of that like role as PC Weekly and we'll put that in.
Good. And Kadi, I think I sent you the list of people that we had on our master contact list. Did you get that email? Maybe not. You're looking at me like you don't think you got it. Okay, I'm going to check that. So you can see who we have on the list now, and then you can let me know if we need to make any corrections or additions. Okay. Thank you. Great question. Any other questions before we let you go? All right.
And
Let me
PC
just
Power
say,
Hours.
go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to mention PC Power Hours. So once a month, we host kind of like a session specifically for our PCs regarding different topics, right? And so the November 1 or the October 1 was dedicated to the promotion. So keep an eye out for programming that we may have in the future, specifically for our partner colleges, covering different topics and ways that you can help the undocumented student population, specifically our scholars.
Yes, such a good point. I'm going to add that, Melanie, to this slide. I'm so glad you made that point.
Mhm.
And so that happens once every month. It's a little bit new for us, but we're finding that we're getting great attendance. And often there'll be a topic, but there's also time to ask questions. So you are always welcome to join those. Thank you, Melanie, for bringing that up.
And the
Anything
next one
else
is
I've
November
missed?
29th. Sorry, Candy, I was just mentioning that the next one is November 29th. I will put the link to join so you don't have to register. November
Great.
29th at 1 p.m. Central.
And again, this information is all included in that PC Weekly. So you'll get all of our events that are happening, you'll get any new updates, and you'll get these scholarship promotion tips and advice and all of that in this one Wednesday email. So we find it pretty valuable for our partners.
Great. Any other additions or questions? Okay. Let us just thank you. Thank you for your time today, but more importantly, thank you for your partnership. We could not serve undocumented students without fabulous colleges like you. We bring on 17 new partner colleges. It's the most we have ever brought on from the beginning of this program in 1 year. And every single partner college we are thrilled to now have as a part of our mix and our offering for our students. So we look forward to working with you in the years to come, serving the students. Always reach out with questions. For that, we'll let you go for the rest of the week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scotty. I'll follow